All right, we are live. Morning, everybody. I should be all like Bob Rossi about this stuff. So today we're painting up some obliterators. So hopefully you guys enjoy the camera angle. So I went ahead and moved the camera a little further down, just so that way you guys can get nice and close on the models this time. So I know I struggled before with it being over, so I wanted to get it closer to the models. That way you guys could actually see what I'm doing. So hopefully. I need to get like one of those little head bandana thingies or whatever. But I don't know if that would work with the camera I have. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do for these obliterators is do all the parts that I want. Well, I could do the fleshy parts or I can do the silver parts. Let's do the fleshy parts actually. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with pallid witch flesh. If I have it. Or flayed witch. Flayed one flesh. Blah. That's what I'm starting out with. So I hope all y'all are doing good this morning. As you can tell, I'm feeling a little under the weather. Still getting over. Well, I don't think I'm quite over whatever this is. But, you know what I mean? Oh, man. But, it's a good time to paint, you know? When you're not feeling good. Don't have to get out of the house. Just paint some stuff. Alright. In the new year, I gotta go buy a bunch of paints. We'll see what I get for Christmas. If I get some gift cards or something, I'll probably use that towards buying some more paint. Hey, it's my birthday here in a couple weeks, too. December 4th, man. I think I'm just gonna go get, like, myself a little birthday cake or something. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll start off doing all the fleshy bits. So I'm going to leave the two here that way you guys have a little something to look at, and then as I finish them, I'll just kind of swap them out. Let's see. His fist is very mechanical, so I guess I'll just start up here. Now, y'all might be wondering, why am I painting obliterators? Well, hopefully y'all saw everything that was leaked. Well, I mean, pretty much you guys can go on YouTube now and watch what's going to be in Faith and Fury. And it has me very excited to run some obliterators. And so I figured might as well go ahead and paint these guys up, because you guys might end up seeing a lot more of these on the channel here very shortly. So might as well get these guys painted up. Now I'm unsure if I want to go ahead and buy more obliterators, you know what I mean? If I want 3 more. I just don't know how viable it will be to run 2 squads, because we're not quite sure yet if they're going to get a points drop. I would imagine they are, because even with the Iron Warriors stuff that's coming out, they still need to go down in points. But yeah, Faith and Fury is definitely good for Chaos. I mean, there's some things that they missed, and we'll talk about that in the review when I get my copy. Because I'm not like some of these other guys where I get the early releases and stuff. I'm not a big channel. I wish I got early releases for Chaos stuff. That way I could show you guys all the Chaos stuff. But right now I am just hitting all the fleshy bits. So as you guys can see right here, I'm just hitting all the fleshy bits with Pallid Witch Flesh. And today's live stream will be on at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock? 11? 11? 11 o'clock. There we go. So if you guys want to hear about my meta thoughts and talk about lists and stuff, I will be talking about them at 11 Eastern Standard Time, like I do every week. Except for, what was it, last week? It was last week, huh? Last week was my GT. So, finished up the video for the GT, and that will be coming here in a couple weeks to you non-Patreon people. To you guys who are Patreon subscribers, you guys will have access to that starting tomorrow. So one of my Patreon benefits for $10 or higher is that you get early access to videos. You get it a week early, which is pretty fun. So if you like to know what I'm releasing early. And then obviously sometimes I'll do just like extra little things. But usually those release to everybody all at the same time. Because it's usually like on a spur of a moment sort of release. So like my interviews and things like that. And sorry, so I'm trying a different camera angle this time. Hopefully it's not too bad. I know it's kind of hard to see what I'm actively doing, but I figured this would be a better way to show you guys what I did as opposed to what I'm doing at this very moment. Because watching me slap some white on some body parts isn't very amusing. And hopefully you guys are painting your own things. Alright, almost got the first coat of white on this guy. This is going to take multiple coats because the gold shows through pretty good on these. And so it's going to take like 2 coats of white to cover up all the gold bits that Now I went out and bought some Retributor gold because A, I'm going to be painting some Helldrakes, and B, I realized I needed it to touch up. Last time when I did the Venom Crawlers and stuff, I didn't have it to touch up, so now I have some to touch up, which is good because I'm going to be sloppy with this white. And it's going to get up on these armor panels. Alright. So first coat on first Obliterator. Pretty much done. Yeah, because I'm not going to paint anything inside of his little head there. And there we go. So you guys can see where we're at. Go ahead and paint this next one. Man, oh man, I don't like feeling sick. Hey Raishi, how you doing, buddy? They are gold. They're very gold. Very, very super gold. But they are going to be painted pretty much how I did my Venom crawlers and stuff, with the shiny red armor. So, but I'm doing a reverse. So with the Venom crawlers, I went ahead and did the armor panels first, which I realized was a bad idea after I'd started doing it. So for these guys, I want to go ahead and do the fleshy bits first. All the under the arms and stuff like that. So taking a different approach, learned from the Venom crawlers. Also, there's going to be a lot of intermingling of different colors on this guy, because, you know, it's got all these tubes and pipes and all sorts of crap going all over the place. So, but luckily I can just come in here and hit that up. I didn't realize he had a bandolier on his side. That's pretty fun. There's so many little details on these obliterators. I actually really love the models. Hey, good afternoon, David. As you can tell, I'm still feeling a little under the weather, so, but it's coming along. I'm trying. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do the live stream, and then probably for the rest of the afternoon, it's going to be me hanging out in my room. I've been watching The Walking Dead again. Stopped watching it like a lot of people, and then I was like, you know what? They just popped out season 9. Let's go ahead and rewatch the whole series. So, I'm actually towards the end of it now, season 9. So, a lot of fun, having fun. Yeah, so, yeah, Raishi, I don't know. I'm in between Iron Warriors and Alpha Legion. Alpha Legion has a lot of goodies too. I really, really like the Alpha Legion stratagem, the sabotage one, where you can make a vehicle explode on a 3+, more or less. And then they can't re-roll the dice to explode, which is freaking awesome. When it popped up on the Warhammer site, I was like, what the hell? That's awesome, because there is so many times, like, there's a repulsor or a knight or something like that, you know, that's planted right in the middle of an army, and you're like, if only I could shoot and blow that thing up. And you know what? Now as Alpha Legion, you can shoot and blow that thing up. And you know what? It's going to do a tremendous amount of damage. So, which I love. It actually really, really hurts castling against things like Alpha Legion. And then also at the same point, Alpha Legion has things that allow you to redeploy. So, you know, if you think you're getting first, you can deploy a certain way. So, like, I could put my Obliterators out in the open, and then, you know, if then they seize on me or something happens, then I'd be like, well, never mind. I'm going to go ahead and throw these Obliterators in this building here and hide them out of sight, you know. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do. A lot of things. I think Alpha Legion is just very... it's going to be tricky to play. It's not, like, overtly powerful like Iron Warriors have, but there's a lot of play in there, and I can't wait to get my hand on the book. Can't wait to give you guys a review of the book from my eyes. Now, I know there's a bunch of reviews out there, and I know Goonhammer did their little rating system thing, and so, which is fine. Everybody's got their own opinions and stuff. Alright. I think that Obliterator's pretty much... I got all the fleshy bits, I think. Sorry, I can see that you guys are typing out, but I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any pieces on this guy. Nope. I think I got all of his fleshy bits. Alright, there's number 2. Number 2 right there. I'm getting fast at painting. No, I'm not fast at painting at all, Raishi. It's just, like, for the Lord of Change, you know, I did those live streams, and I did, like, the super long live stream, you know, where I was on for, like, 4 hours painting that damn thing. And, for the little nitnoid bits and the last little stuff, I went ahead and did all that offline because, well, A, it's boring and you can't really see what I was doing because it's not like I was covering a lot of model. And then B, it allowed me to just go ahead and buckle down. Like yesterday, I think I painted for about 5 hours. 5 hours? I mean, I did finish some blue horrors, so here, I'll show you guys one. So check these guys out. I really, really, really like how my blue horrors turned out. I'll go ahead and get this guy out in front there. But I really, really, really like how the blue horrors turned out. They're actually really, really pretty. And how I did my blue, they pop. They pop really, really good. Yeah, make sure. So there you go, blue horror. Now you guys can see him. So yesterday I finished the unit of 10 blue horrors, finished the Lord of Change, and yeah. And then, like I said, I decided to go ahead and start working on these oblits because, yeah, if Marines are, and I'm sure there's some tricks and stuff, and then we still have chapter approved right around the corner, meaning that we're going to get a lot of points drops, I hope. And with the points drops coming, then I think a lot of things will be a lot more viable. You know what I mean? So I figured I should probably go ahead and start painting up some Chaos Space Marine stuff. Now I do have 3 Helldrakes, count them 3, finally. So I need to paint those up. And then I've got these Obliterators that I got to paint up. The Venom Crawlers are done. I've got 2 Defilers that I might end up starting to work on. Defilers, though, there's so much surface area. Oh, it's going to take so long to paint those. Which is part why I haven't touched them. But I want to finish up these Obliterators, and then next after that is actually my Ahriman and my my Terminator Sorcerer. Just plain Terminator Sorcerer, because I can use him for Thousand Suns or use him for Chaos Space Marines, you know? And the reason why I'm painting Ahriman is because, well, I have the 30k one, and it's all fully painted up, and I've been using him as my Ahriman, but now that I have the non-30k one, I want to go ahead and get him painted up, just so that way there's no conflicts when I'm playing. And then the cool thing is, too, then I can treat 30k Ahriman as just a normal Chaos Sorcerer, because he is on like a 32 mil base, so which works for me. Gives me yet another, so I can treat him as a Thousand Sun Sorcerer or a Chaos Sorcerer, which is good for me because I do not have any plain Chaos Sorcerers right now, currently. I am looking at maybe buying one of those new models, but now next month's Patreon, when it pays out, I'm actually going to go out and buy Magnus. So, and that'll go ahead and give me both Primarchs, because I keep saying that I want to play Magnus on the channel, but I don't have him. Now, I do have Mortarion now, so I can play him, but yeah, I really, really want Magnus, and so that's actually next month's Patreon. When it pays out, I'm going to go ahead and go scoop him up, and then eventually paint him. So I've got a GT in December that I've been telling you guys about. And for that GT, I think I want to run the TJ Lanigan Magnus list, but this Faith and Fury has me really, really thinking of these Obliterators, like really thinking of them. So let me get these painted up, and then we'll see what happens from there, you know. I don't know, I probably won't pull the trigger for this GT, because well, this army's probably not going to be painted. Whatever I take to this GT is not going to be fully painted, but that's because the TOs have said that painting is not required for this GT, and I am not, as opposed to the last one where hobby scores were a huge part of it. This is just pretty much gameplay, so which is nice because that means I don't have to speed paint through and get a bunch of crap ready. I mean, I could always run the Demon Engines again if I wanted to. Ooh, Demon Engines with Magnet, or Mortarion. I do have Mortarion painted up. But, sorry, I'm just kind of rambling right now, and I'm trying to get the fleshy bits. So this is my converted Hellbrute. So I'll put him down here in a second. But he was a Hellbrute that I actually converted into a Obliterator. Now, a lot of people would be like, well, why would you do such a thing? I actually got this Hellbrute for free because I went ahead and converted up. My buddy had some normal knights, and he wanted me to convert up one of the gauntlets holding like a ripped in half Chaos Space Marine. So he gave me like a 30k Space Marine and this gauntlet. And so I green stuffed it up with the dude's guts hanging out, and so that way, like, when he was holding them, the guts were in his hand. And he really, really liked it, and so as payment, he gave me an old Hellbrute, which was in really, really bad shape. And so I could have used that as a Hellbrute, but when the new Obliterators came out, because this guy has been sitting in my bits box forever, I was like, oh, you know what? An Obliterator, if you chop it down, and as you guys can see, right next to a normal Obliterator, and it's cool. He looks different. So, all right. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff. Good afternoon. Yeah, we already addressed that. A lot of competitive soup. Yeah, no, that's. I agree with that. No, Riptides do not explode. They are actually considered monsters, not vehicles. No, Night Lords, David, they actually look pretty cool. I mean, we'll end up having to see what people come up with, but there's some tricks Night Lords can do, especially with the non-fallback stratagem that they've got. It's gonna be super, super strong. But we're gonna have to wait and see because their Legion trait is still absolute garbage. absolute garbage. And they have probably one of the better, I think it's the Relic, the Vox Demonica, but the range on it is kind of what limits that, because having to be within 6 inches to shut off auras is kind of meh. Their 18-inch shutting off auras period on a single character is actually incredibly strong. Because when you consider how many armies revolve around auras, like being able to shut off a Chapter Master for an entire turn is actually really powerful. And the cool thing is, you know, you can get up there with Night Lord Helldrakes and shut that stuff off. And then, same thing, you know, you mentioned that souping is going to be a big thing. Well, that's true. I can run my Night Lord Helldrakes with my Alpha Legion and still do the Night Lord things. And still do the Alpha Legion things. The only crappy part about the Night Lord stratagem is the non-fallback stratagem is it's only infantry. So only infantry can use it, and you can only lock infantry. Which really sucks, because I was thinking of doing it with Helldrakes, but I was like, I can't do that. So, because that'd be super, super strong to charge your 3 Helldrakes into, you know, some scouts or something. And, or let's just say Primaris Marines, you know, and then 1 sticks around, and then you go ahead and pile all 3 in around that dude, and then, well, he wouldn't be able to fall back if you were able to do that anyway, but, but you get the point. You get what I was trying to get at. But no, I agree. Probably going to start painting Night Lords, yeah. Actually, yeah, Violent High, so here, I'll go ahead and show you real quick. So this is my Ahriman right here. So I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. So I'm just showing you guys this real quick. So he is magnetized. So I got a magnet on the bottom of his foot. And the magnet is drilled into the disc right there. So you can't... Oh, crap. I just dropped a paintbrush. So you can't really see the magnet, you know, once he's on there. Unless you're really, really super looking. Now, the cool thing is, so not only did I magnetize the disc, but I had an extra 40 mil, and I think this came with the Thousand Suns box. And so I drilled a magnet into the base there, too. So that way, if I want foot Ahriman, well, there you go. But like I said, I need to actually paint him. So right now he's in my painting queue. My painting queue is always sitting right here to my right. So that way when it sucks though, because you look over and you're like, oh, it's never ending. Because right now I have 30 pink horrors, a Changecaster, Ahriman, and Terminator Lord. But you know what? I'm getting there. I just finished Lord of Change, which was a huge milestone. Now all my super big models, for the most part, except for the Defilers, are painted. Helldrakes, I guess, would be considered super big. Helldrakes, though, aren't hard to paint. There's just a lot of surface area to get around. And I'm going to be painting those the shiny red, like I did the Venom Crawlers. So it'll be imposing. Now I'm gonna do some cool things. Since last time when I did the Candied modeling, I've researched a little bit more, talked to some more people, and they've given me some more tips on how to kind of deepen the color and do some cool things like giving like varying tones underneath the red. So for example, I'm gonna actually wash all the metal bits that are gonna be painted the Candied red. I'm gonna actually wash them with Drukari purple. And then that actually gives you a cool, like, varying red tone. And then I'm actually going to probably go over it and scratch at it with some super bright. I have Storm Post Silver in a few areas. And so what that's going to do is give, like, a few, like, popped areas. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. And sorry, I'm still sick, so you guys can't tell. But it's going to be super cool. If you guys aren't excited, well, I am. I'm super excited. You can't tell right now because I'm sick, but all right. Oh man, we got a lot of stuff. Hey, how's it going, Sergeant Deathstroke? Oh, Magnetize. New Sorcerer model, Raishi? I'm a fan of it. I just wish he had a helmeted option, because I really like his pose, and I really like his staff and everything, but the head, like the bald head on him, I'm just like, I like helmets. I really like helmets. Like, whenever you give me a helmeted option and a non-helmeted option, I will always pick the helmeted option. And so, to me, it's just kind of meh that they didn't give me a helmet. So I'm probably going to end up head swapping him. If I do end up picking up one of those Chaos Sorcerers, just because, like, I don't like his head. I don't like it. So, all right. So he is all whited up now. Easy to build models, yeah. Easy to build models always meh. They're for newbies, you know. Cool thing is too, also, you know, all the easy build Plague Marines. A lot of people don't like them, so you can pick them up really cheap. So, which I love. Being able to save a few bucks is good in this hobby, you know. Andrea, I'll probably end up covering some of that sort of stuff with the Nurgle combos in like the review of the Codex or of the Faith and Fury. For the paint streams, I try not to talk about that sort of thing because it takes away from what I might end up talking about in the actual live stream. So I don't mind talking about like thoughts in general, but as far as combos go, like there is some combos in there, some possibly pretty mean ones, but yeah, we'll save that for the Faith and Fury review. Also, at the same point, you know, I'm going off of how people read the book as opposed to physically seeing the book. So I don't want to assume how stuff is, because how things are worded actually matters tremendously in this game, you know, because it can completely change how something functions based on keywords or whatever. So hopefully that's all right. Super chats. What's super chats? I don't know what a super chat is. Enlighten me, sir. I don't know what a super chat is. Now I'm curious. But crap. So this camera angle, because of how low this camera is right now, just makes it, I've got to kind of have these guys like right in the square middle of this right here. So let me know if you guys prefer this angle, if you guys prefer the old angle. I mean, I have the stick here that I would put it on. And there's a lot of people here. So neat thing is, guys, and I want to thank everybody here because you guys definitely help with this. 28 more subscribers and we've hit 1,000, which is freaking awesome. It's a YouTube thing where you can donate for streamer. So Valentine, I don't think I can do that because I have not hit 1,000 subs. YouTube actually locks a lot of functions behind the 1,000 sub mark, which has kind of been sorry, sick. Which has kind of been why that's been my goal, is to kind of unlock all that stuff. Now I don't know if I'm gonna do it because a lot of that too, I have to start putting ads in my videos, which I don't mind so much because it's a way to raise money, but at the same point, I prefer to stay ad-free, you know what I mean? Because, you know what, whatever. I'm not here to make money off of this, but money does help to buy new models, test new stuff out, get more paints. Some things that I've been talking about this for a while. I want to get you guys some swag that you guys can buy. I'm not gonna like make a swag shop or anything. Mostly because then I can buy it and just kind of sell it out of pocket, and you know, is what it is. But yeah, you know, stuff like t-shirts. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do too much swag. Probably t-shirts and maybe like stickers or something. Or I've looked into doing dice, but dice is actually very expensive. Really, really expensive. So, oh yeah, there we go. There's the white on this guy. Oh man, so many posts. Yeah, no, I agree, Reishi. There's no ad revenue really from YouTube anymore because now there's so many fees and stuff when you start doing that crap that unless you've got like a bazillion subscribers, there's nothing. But I want to hit the 1,000 because at the same point, the 1,000 mark also allows me to, which is weird that they lock this behind a sub wall, but like I can't do live streams from my phone until I hit 1,000 subscribers, which is just weird to me. Because when I started doing the weekly live streams, I was going to kind of do it that way. Now, I'm not going to do that. It might allow me to do some live streams onto YouTube as far as like me being at a GT and playing or something. If you guys are interested in that sort of thing. But but yeah, so that's locked behind 1,000 subs too. There's actually a lot of things locked behind 1,000 subs. Also trying to get some sponsors for the channel. So whether it be paint, you know, sponsors to have me test out paint on streams, or terrain sponsors, because I do want to eventually build my own table here at the house. But I need, you know, terrain and things like that. So, but sponsorship comes with getting more subs. Getting more subs comes with coming out with quality videos, which I try my best to do. And these streams are just kind of little extra things to A, allow me to interact with you guys, and B, just be here, you know, hang out with you guys. Like I said, also, this kind of drives me to paint. Being here because you guys are hanging out with me, and I'm like, well, I can't stop painting, because if I stop painting, then why would I even do this stream? And sorry, I know there's a few guys who posted, and I'll get there in a second. Alrighty. Oh, super chat. Blah, blah, blah. Boo, boo, boo. Ad revenue. How did I build the Obliterator into a Hellbrute? So, here, I'll put this guy down real quick. Because he's the one I'm painting right now. So the way I built this Obliterator, or this Hellbrute into an Obliterator, so what I did is if you actually put him side by side next to an Obliterator, you guys can see he's more or less the same height as him. And so what I did was I cut the body in half, so right where the torso meets the legs. The torso for a Hellbrute is incredibly broad. So if you guys kind of just trim around the back panels and get all the fleshy spots, so basically I just cut the armor plates out of it. And then on the front side I did kind of the same thing. And then pretty much you use green stuff to bond both sides together. So once you bond both sides together, then I just use, like, this is a Melta from the, two Meltas actually. The Melta things from the Wallerfiend kit. This is the fist from a Contemptor Dreadnought that I had, because when I bought those used Contemptors, I chopped the fists off and kept them. This is actually the shoulder pad from the Hellbrute. This was a auto gun from like a Gene Stealer cultist, and then other than that, the rest of it is Hellbrute. His legs, so the Hellbrute legs, if you put them side by side with an Obliterator, they're actually the exact same height, almost. So, which is funny. So, just kind of looking at it, I was like, oh hey, I can just make this Hellbrute, because like I said, I had that Hellbrute sitting in a box for like a year. And I wanted to make use of it, but I was never going to use it as a Hellbrute, so might as well make an Obliterator, right? Makes sense. Now I'm waiting for them to release like a Mutilator Obliterator kit, which I think that they're going to do eventually. But we're going to just have to wait and see, you know. Because Mutilators definitely need new models. Mutilators are freaking ugly. But, yeah, that's how I did it. Lots of green stuff, too. Which, luckily for stuff like this, like fleshy gun dudes, I didn't have to be really smooth with it. So it's kind of like chunky all over the place. But, yeah, it works. And ain't nobody ever going to argue against it, which is kind of the goal. The worst thing ever is to make a conversion and then you bring it to the table and then somebody's like, that's not that, and you're like, no, it is. No, that's not that. And you're like, no, it is. Like, I seriously spent a bunch of time making this into this. So I'm a huge fan of conversions. I believe that conversions make the game super awesome. Because everybody likes to, even if it is the same army, facing something that looks different, because it's still different. But I am not a fan of lazy converting. So, examples of lazy converting: buying a Redemptor Dreadnought and just calling it a Leviathan Dreadnought. That's a lazy conversion. Because, yes, I know we cannot use Redemptor Dreadnoughts, but come on, man. Put a little bit of work into it. Now, I guess some people might call my Heralds of Tzeentch lazy. So, as an example, this guy right here. So, this is actually just a pink horror, and I swapped out, did a couple hand swaps. So, I gave him like the lightning orb from the Fatecaster kit. So, the Chariot of Tzeentch. And gave him like some scrolls on his side. But I think that makes him stand out. Also, I'm painting him red, so that way he stands out against the pink horrors. So it's like, hey, this one is the Fatecaster. Like, it's very obvious which one the HQ is. So that's funny there. Actually, yes, everyone's demonetized because they demonetize you just for swearing. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this blue horror out of the way. He's going back over with his buddies. Yeah. Alright, so now we've got the white on the 3 Obliterators. So I'm going to answer questions, take a sip of coffee real quick. So Deathstroke, I'm actually going to be playing TJ's list at the my next GT. Now, the hold the center style of play actually works out very, very well because of the way his list is designed. So as an example, you know, he uses the 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, which are incredibly, incredibly durable, even in this meta. Every time, you know, I just ran 3 of them at my last GT, and I don't think in any one game did I lose more than 1. I think the most I ever lost was 1, and then against the guy that I super lost against, oh no, the Tau guy did kill all 3. But it took him some time. Like, it took him a while for that Taunar to actually kill it, so. But, no, holding the center is not a bad idea. Not with his list anyway, and I greatly look forward to it. PBCs have had play. I don't think that they've ever been out of the meta. And I just think it takes people coming back to them. A lot of people said that there was better options. Well, honestly, the PBC has so many uses that I personally think it's a one-of-a-kind model. There's nothing that does what a PBC does. So, now the things that TJ's doing differently that I thought was really interesting was the way that he's deep striking his plague bearers. So, so that's going to take a little bit of getting used to, and I am going to get a few games in probably prior to the GT. I didn't want to. I wanted to take a break. But I've realized that I'm actually behind the curve as far as videos go for you guys, because I want to have enough videos stored up. That way, when I go on break for the holidays, that I can just go ahead and release videos while I'm on break, and you guys still get something. Because I'm not going to be filming for like 2.5 weeks while I'm Christmas break. So, yeah, no, I agree, Valentine. Like I said, when I'm on break for the holidays, so I actually leave here on the 18th of December. For those next 2 Sundays, I'm not going to be streaming at all. And yeah, that's because I'm just, I'm going to be hanging out with the wife, and I'm not going to be really messing with Warhammer or anything while doing that, you know, because we've been apart for a while. And while I love Warhammer, I love my wife more. So hopefully y'all understand. But yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see what happens. My goal is hopefully we'll hit 1,000 subs by the end of this month. And then maybe I can mess around with it or something here in the future. So, but yeah, I look forward. Dice, sad times. Is it sad times that I don't have dice, or is it sad times because of your dice? That's the question, Reishi. Guys, give them some likes. They are free. That is true. That is true. All likes are good. Sorry, shaking up the silver right now. But yeah, no, likes are always good on the live streams, on the videos. Help support the channel. Dislikes are free too, so if you want to dislike me, feel free. But please, 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 if you dislike something, let me know why you dislike it. The worst thing ever is to open up my thing, like my little YouTube thing, and see a bunch of dislikes and then like no comments. It's like, okay, cool. Like, what did you dislike about the video? Like, did you not like how I looked? Did you not like my thoughts? Like, please enlighten me as to what you disliked. I don't mind dislikes at all. Like, dislikes are how you improve, right? If I'm doing something a lot of people don't like, then I need to know about it. Now, one thing I did learn as I've been doing this YouTube thing, you know, battle reports, people do not like seeing somebody concede in a battle report. So now I've made it a rule that if my opponent concedes, I am not going to post the video, period. If I concede, I'll still post the video because I feel like I can give insight as to why I conceded, as opposed to my opponent who, if he concedes, he's just super salty. He's not going to really give anything. And I've only had a couple games where I posted and they they conceded. So, but I learned that the hard way because of massive amounts of dislikes on those videos. And sorry, I'm starting to do the lead belcher on this guy. So I like, when I'm painting my models, I personally like to do all the base coats first, and then I go through and do highlights and everything. Now, it depends on who it is. Like the Lord of Change, I had to mix it up. I did his skin first and worked out from there. But for these smaller models, I like to get, that way I know, it's almost like a coloring book, right? Like I'm blocking out the colors and I know where I want them, and so then that way I can just kind of go over them from there. And then same thing, saves me on washes too, because a lot of the time, you know, obviously just like most people, I use a lot of Nolan Oil, a lot of Agrex Earthshade, a lot of the base washes, and so if I've got big swaths of a model that are all going to be the same wash, then why not just base coat them all, because then I can just wash it all at the same time. That's my logic. A saves paint, B saves money, C saves time. All the savings. So much savings. I don't even have a YouTube, and I'm demonetized for calling AOC a goblin. That's hilarious. That's awesome. That's funny. When am I going to make a focus review for Faith and Fury? So MC Crasso, that is going to happen once I get the book. So I am not a big channel, so they do not send me pre-release copies. That's why all these people have copies of the book. Is because they're huge channels, and so they have lots of subscribers, and they get the books early. So I'm going to release a review once I get the book, which should be next weekend, right? That's when it releases. So I actually messaged my my shop owner and let him know to go ahead and hold me a copy. So for this payday, I'm actually pretty much tapped out and broke already because of buying Christmas presents, but I saved myself $40. That way I can go buy Faith and Fury. So, and then I will video a review for you guys. And we will talk all about the rules. All about some. Talk about some combos, talk about some neat stuff. I know one of the guys just asked about Nurgle combos. Well, we'll talk about those too. Like I said, I don't really want to talk about combos and stuff right now because without having the book in hand, I don't know exactly how some of the things are worded. And so some of the things will be like kind of conjecture-y because I won't know exactly how it's worded. And wording is a massive, massive thing in this game, and if something is worded a very specific way, it only works on certain models, and so on and so forth. So, now I will say there's some obvious ones. The Emperor's Children Noise Marine Bomb is going to be a thing. So if you've got Noise Marines, you should be incredibly, 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 incredibly happy, because that shit is going to hurt. Obviously, Obliterators and Demon Engines with the Iron Warriors, which makes me really happy because you know how much I love my Demon Engines. So I'm actually looking very heavily at the Iron Warriors right now. But I think Alpha Legion for me will have the most amount of play just from a competitive standpoint. While Iron Warriors will have a pretty good damage output, Alpha Legion just has a lot of tricks that have a lot of uses, and it messes with your opponent's plans. So, like they always say, anything that you can do to mess with how your opponent plays is actually better than just raw power, because by stopping them from doing whatever their trick is, you're winning. Because now you're making them have to overthink and overcompensate for things that they would normally be allowed to do, you know? So, like the 12-inch denial power is super, super strong. Like super strong, because if I can stop you from dropping your bloodletters or whatever within 12 inches of me, sweet. badass, you know? And the thing is, you have to commit to deep striking before I use the stratagem. So it's not like, well, I might deep strike. It's like, okay, I'm deep striking this unit, and then I get to pick whether or not I want to stop that unit. Which is awesome. So, so good. Plus, I like the idea of snipers. We actually talked a lot in the Discord channel about Alpha Legion snipers a little bit. And I'm actually thinking of a bike lord. Yes, I know they're going to be illegal here shortly, but right now they are perfectly legal. And I'm thinking of a bike lord with 2 combi bolters and the sniper trait. That way I have like a sniper bike lord, and it's going to be hilarious. He's going to ride around like mowing down shock attack guns and chapter masters and whatever. It's going to be hilarious. I'm amused. My opponents might not be, but I'm going to be amused. I've waited for a sniper for so long. I'm going to use him. I mean, it might not be competitive, and then obviously once we lose the Biker Lord, then it's not going to be a thing anymore. You could do like a Terminator Lord with the Combi Bolter Relic and the Sniper trait, but I think 8 shots is way better than 4 shots. And I think I'm going to test the Bike Sniper Lord with and without the Relic. Because, you know, I think it's on wound rolls of 6, he does mortal wounds. So, basically, if I can roll up, get my 8 shots into something, there's a good chance I might just kill it straight out, and then I won't even need to use the thing. Sorry. So right now I'm picking out any areas that are supposed to be silver, or that I want to be silver. These guys are actually not going to be too terribly hard to paint overall. I like Obliterators. I really like these new models. Yeah, like, I'm going to wash all this flesh, then I'm going to go through and hit up these, like, spines and grooves and all this weird stuff. The tubes. But, oh, let's see. The dislike people are probably Tau players. Ah, that's funny. Could be. Freaking Tau. Like, of all the armies in 40k, Tau is the one I hate the most. And it's not even from a gameplay standpoint. It's just from a fluff and visual perspective, because they kind of stand out against the other armies, you know what I mean? I'm also not a fan of Eldar, but that's because I've never been a fan of elves in any game. I'm Team Dwarf all the way, so Team Dwarf all the way. Now, I did play Dark Eldar, not gonna lie, I did play Dark Eldar, but I can make that excuse because they're pretty much heavy metal, like, they torture people and stuff, like, they might as well be chaos. Yeah, what was it? So when I had quit during, so I'd quit the game for a while, then got married. And then when I came back to the game, I started playing Blood Angels. And played that actually pretty heavily. That was right when the 5th edition Blood Angels Codex came out. Which back then, Blood Angels were actually very, very, very good. And they played very differently from other armies because they were the only codex that had jump troops or jump pack guys as troops, which was really strong, you know, highly mobile, did a lot of damage. And also back then you were able to Mephiston was pretty much a one-man army. If you did not kill Mephiston, and he was not an independent character, which meant you could target him at anywhere he was on the board. But it was funny. Like he would live through stuff like Land Raiders shooting at him. He was just so tanky. And then he had like a strength 10 force weapon. So like he would go up and just rip through stuff. It was hilarious. But back then I would play. I played a bunch of Storm Ravens. So those are the flying big things that Marines have that we don't really see anymore. Even with the new Marine Codex, a lot of people haven't really been bringing those out. And then, so I play Storm Ravens. I would play Mephiston. I would play a bunch of Assault Troops. And then I also had a Death Star of Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators that hopped out of that Storm Raven. With a Furioso Dreadnought, because Furioso Dreadnoughts were badass. Not as badass anymore. So the way Furioso Dreadnoughts used to work, which was hilarious, for every successful hit and kill, they would get another attack. And so a Furioso Dreadnought had like 8 attacks, I think, something like that, something crazy, at strength 10, AP minus a bazillion, because AP was different back then. And so a single Furioso Dreadnought on average would kill a 30-man boy squad. And it would actually happen more often than not. And so I actually ran that specifically for those matchups, like Orcs, Tyranids. Because the Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators, even though they would like rip through anything that was like heavy, I always struggled against Hordes. Because while the Hordes couldn't really kill Mephiston, they could, win on objectives, which actually happened quite a bit when I was learning how to play the army. But I had a lot of fun with it. And then after that, I went back to my original love, which was Demons. So, Demons in 5th edition were amazing. We were still using a 4th edition codex. However, Kairos the Fate Weaver, once upon a time allowed you to reroll all invulnerable saves for all demons within a certain radius. I think it was 12 inches of him. And so, yeah, as you guys can imagine, it was an incredibly powerful mechanic. Now, the issue with Kairos, though, was anytime he would successfully take a wound, you had to roll a d6. And if you rolled a 1, which back in the day, you could not reroll dice. If you rolled a 1, Kairos would actually die immediately. So there was games where your opponent, his entire first turn, the entire army was going into Kairos, hoping to sneak through a couple wounds. Because he was incredibly hard to kill. Most games I would never lose him, but they were trying to sneak through enough wounds to get rid of him. And then if they got rid of him, the demon army was in trouble. Because also back in the day, the way Deep Strikes work, or the way the demon army worked, was you had to arrive from Deep Strike, and only half your army would arrive on turn 1, and then the rest you had to roll. So you had to roll to see whether or not units would come in. And so it was a super, super, it was good, but at the same time there was a lot of luck involved. So, turn 1 or turn 2, when your reserves could start coming in, you had to roll a 4+ for each unit. And so there could be times where half your army was off the table for a couple turns, and you'd have to live through that. So Kairos was really good for that. Really, really good. And I would run Scarbrand too, because Scarbrand was a lot of fun back in the day. Oh, hi there. Got a lot more comments. Dorados, yes, they still have competitive play. We're actually seeing quite a few Dorados right now. They're not really winning events, but a lot of people are using Dorados. So they still have use, but I will tell you in the Iron Hands matchup, they're not going to do jack diddly squat for you. That Ironstone and Duty Eternal is really, really bad for it, so... Oh yeah, no, I agree, Raishi. Blood Angels are in a bad spot, which makes me sad because it's the only Marine army that I would ever think of coming back and playing, which honestly I'll never come back and play Marine Army period anymore. Because, we play Chaos, right? And Chaos is the best. But yeah, no, Blood Angels is in a bad spot right now. Back then they were good. They weren't OP. Like Space Wolves, when they came out, they were OP. And then after that it was Grey Knights. Grey Knights were just hyper OP. Funny enough, out of all my armies, so I had a Drukhari army, I had a Necron army, I had a because I bought Necrons when the new Necron Codex came out, and all the models like the Knight Scythe and stuff like that came out. I had a Necron army, I had a Demons army, and then I had my Blood Angels. Out of all of those, the only army that I could reliably beat the Grey Knights with was the Demons. I mean, they had a bunch of anti-demon stuff, but the fact that I could reroll all my saves was really, really strong in that matchup. Because they put out a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Yeah. Sorry. There's actually quite a bit of silver on these guys. Like, where I want to put silver. Because they've got, like, little nodules and stuff, like, poking out of their legs. I gotta figure out what color I want to paint all these tubes and stuff. And I think he is good to go, maybe. Oh, let me get this little bit right here. Like I said, I'll show you guys here in a minute where I'm at on this. Alright. Voila. Oh, started collecting Tau, but I only own like 30 fireworks. Yeah. Blah. Tau. Blah. Tau. What do you think about Chaos Weapons APs? What are you talking about? Like the actual AP of the weapons? My opinion, Valentine, of the battle box that's coming out, it's not a bad deal. I mean, I do feel kind of slighted that it's pretty much Shadowspear reboxed. However, if you didn't go through and you didn't buy a lot of the Shadowspear stuff, now the HQ option, the Master Possession, is a terrible, terrible, terrible. Like, I hate that they put him in that box, because really you only ever need one of those. Now that could change. I mean, they could give us something crazy for a Master Possession eventually, but yeah. Currently, Master Possessions are kind of meh. Even for people who run Demon Engines and things like that, they just, because you outpace them so quickly, so they don't really keep up with your army. However, the rest of the box isn't bad. You get a box of Chaos Space Marines, and it looks like you're going to get a full box of Chaos Space Marines, not just the easy build, here's one weapon option Space Marines. I swear to God, if the easy build ones are in there, I would rage. I would rage so hard. But that's not a bad deal. Getting the Venom Crawler. Venom Crawlers are amazing. As y'all know, I love my Venom Crawlers. So that's not a bad deal. So, I mean, it's not a bad box. Does it come with Obliterators? I don't remember if it comes with Obliterators. Now I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can let me know. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 9:30. Man, oh man, how time flies. Oh man, being sick sucks. Oh my pocket vibrated. 1 second. Oh, hi there. Holy messages. Who's on Discord with all the messages? So many people. Oh, man. It's mostly you, Reishi. You messaged me like a bazillion times. Well, not me directly, but I'm glad you're here this time, Reishi. I know you haven't been able to make it for a little while. This might have been a little too much to do today, doing 2 live streams. My sickness is catching up with me right now. Not entirely sure how I got sick. I did do like a volunteer thing where we went and ran with an elementary school, which I thought I was going to get sick after that. That was right before the GT, which I didn't. So I'm guessing I got something from somebody at work. Oh, man. 5 Terminators, 10 man. Is that the Battle Force? Does it come with Havocs and Terminators? Really? Are you sure? Because if that's the Battle Force, Valentine, that's actually a very good box. Especially with these new rules, man. I mean, if you guys aren't excited to run some Red Butchers, Dual Lightning Claw Terminators, I don't know what to tell you, man. That shit is gonna hurt. So, I mean, some of y'all probably have been keeping up with this stuff, but yeah, like the World Eaters have that stratagem for 2 CP. You can nominate a unit of Terminators to turn them into Red Butchers. And so what Red Butchers does is it gives the whole unit plus 1 strength. And on top of that, they gain the Blood for the Blood God rule. So basically they become Terminator Berserkers. So they get to attack twice in the fight phase. Which is super strong. Super strong. I mean, we are talking, 9 attacks per Terminator? That's between the both fight phases, and then on top of it, you've got all those stratagems you can use. So, it's gonna be fearsome. Like it's strong. It's really really strong. Now, is it gonna be something to combat the Marine meta with? That I don't think so. Because Terminators will still die like Terminators. So, which is really sad that Terminators are less survivable than crap like Centurions, but no, that's a good box. Like, I would actually buy that box. I thought it was just a repack, or maybe that's the Marine one. Is the Marine one the repackage of Shadow Spear then? But hell no, man. I would buy the shit out of that box. Now, something funny. So, when I placed 7th at my GT, they had a bunch of prizes, and I went ahead and grabbed that. So, I need a box of Chaos Terminators to go ahead and convert these into Chaos Terminators. So it's a project down the road. I need to get a box of Chaos Terminators. But I would definitely buy that bottle box to go ahead and do that. I also need more Chaos Space Marines. I've only got 15 right now, which is enough for a single, battalion. If I wanted a slim battalion, but yeah. I'm actually looking at buying one of those Apocalypse boxes. So you can still find them on eBay, and Amazon actually has them pretty cheap. But it's a really, really good deal. Because, you get 30 Marines. You get... I think there's a box of... No, there's not a box of Havocs in there. Is there? I think there is a box of Havocs. And then you get a box of Obliterator, or a box of Terminators. So, yeah, I was just wondering, because you're saying that it's got Terminator Lord and stuff in it, so that's actually not a bad deal, because then you have options for a Sorcerer or an options for a Terminator Lord if you want to. I'm surprised they haven't re-released a Chaos Lord kit of any sort. It's cool that they brought out a new Sorcerer, regardless of what you think about the Sorcerer kit. But I feel like it was a missed opportunity that they could have done a combo Sorcerer/Lord kit. Because I don't think we've had a new Chaos Lord kit forever. I actually convert up my own Chaos Lords. All my Chaos Lords are just base Space Marines with bits on them, My Death Guard Lords, I literally will just grab a Plague Marine and say, this is my Chaos Lord. Because I don't run Plague Marines very often, so never runs into an argument, because it's literally the only Chaos Space Marine, or the only Plague Marine on the entire field, so you can't really argue that. This one Plague Marine is my Chaos Lord. Okay. But, yeah, no, the Get Started box is not bad. Especially with these new rules. Looking at the new rules, you can definitely make a case for it. And like I said, my ones were Alpha Legion and Iron Warriors are the two. Well, and it's funny, too, because those were the two that I loved the most. And those were the two that ended up getting rules that I liked the most. So, now I will say Emperor's Children are going to be mean. If anything, just for that Sonic Disruption strat or whatever it is. That is just going to be incredible. I know people are already out there math hammering it, but I will tell you, it can easily kill almost 2 knights. Saves pending, of course. But when you're turning all their little Sonic guns into damage 2 guns, and then you can throw on Veterans of the Long War, you can throw on Endless Cacophony, you can throw on Prescience, you can throw on a reroll 1s, it gets dumb. It gets dumb real fast. And then they're going to unload, and then they're going to kill your stuff. Which is cool. I like that. I like that maybe we'll see some Noise Marines out there. Sorry. I had bold plans for today to paint so much things, but the sickness is not going to let me. So I'll probably finish this live stream. So plan on doing this till about 10:30 my time, which is an hour from now. And then take a slight break, get some more coffee and stuff. And then come back for the full live stream. Now, today's live stream, it'll be, I'm going to try to soldier through it. Probably going to be less than an hour, though, because I am not feeling very hot right now. I'm starting to feel really warm. But being sick sucks. I hate being sick. It's really terrible. It is such a terrible, terrible feeling. But at least I get a little bit of progress on the Obliterators, you know. No, I agree, Raishi. We need new new Berserkers. Now, I highly recommend to anybody, look up the how people are using the Khorne Slaughterborn or Khorne Bloodborne or whatever they're called for Age of Sigmar and making Berserkers out of them. Those things look freaking fantastic. And honestly, you use that, and I think you'll be perfectly happy with those as your Khorne Berserkers for like the rest of forever. Now, yes, they don't have armor on. Yes, they'll be all like half-naked dudes with giant axes running around. But you know what? I kind of imagine that's what Berserkers are really like anyway. I really think that they would bask in the blood of their enemies. So why would they want to wear some armor unless they had to survive, you know? But then you could get in the argument. Well, why does he have a 3-up strife if he's naked? You gotta suspend disbelief, man. Like, maybe my Berserkers are just, they're so rage-filled that they can just soldier through all the wounds. So instead of feel no pain, you know, they're just so blood-hungry that they're just like, rah, take all the hits. You know what I mean? See? You could fluff it up. You can make an excuse. Yeah, exactly, MC Crasso. Exactly. They're amazing models, and I've seen some awesome conversions. So, like I said, I'm a huge fan of converting. Like, if GW is not going to give me a new model, fine. I'll make my own. And you know what? Then I'm going to have more pride in the model, because I made it. And yeah. And at the same point, you know, if I'm using the Blood Warriors from Age of Sigmar for making my Berserkers, they're still making money off of me. So, yeah, I think because I really dislike the old Berserkers. When I got back into this game for 8th edition, one of the first boxes I bought was a box of Berserkers because I was like, oh, I really like these rules, you know. Now I will tell you, I've literally only played with them twice since I've gotten them, and so they're actually sitting on the shelf behind me. And when I started playing back, I didn't really notice how bad the models were. Maybe nostalgia, you know. But now that I see them next to the new stuff, yeah, definitely not good. Getting all the metal bits on these guys. So many. Man, we were so lively today. There's been so many people coming through. Thank you guys so much for being here for the live stream. For the paint stream. The paint streams, like I say, are random. I was going to do one last night when I was finishing up the Lord of Change, but I kind of got in the zone and started watching Walking Dead while I was painting, and I think it helped a lot in getting him complete, because then I didn't have to focus on talking to people. Just focused on painting and listening. Man, I wish there was a place to get good soup here. Soup is always so good when you're sick. I appreciate people's thoughts last night on Discord too. People were giving me remedies, home remedies. the rum one, rum with honey and lemon or whatever, which is a good one. I don't drink, and then at the same point, well, I'm not gonna say I don't drink. I like beer. Beer is like literally the only thing I drink as far as alcohol goes. As a big guy, I'm 6'3". I don't know if you guys can tell in the videos and stuff, but as a bigger guy, I actually have a very, very low tolerance for alcohol, which is really weird. And I think it just is because I don't drink a lot. Now, I do really like beer. Like, beer tastes very, very good to me. I love beer. I know mixed drinks can taste good, but I get hammered so fast. I'm such a lightweight that, like, a 6-pack of, like, light beer will get me buzzed. That's how much of a lightweight I am. And at the same point, I'm older now, so I don't feel the need to have to drink to, when I'm around young guys or whatever. I'm just like, whatever, y'all drink. That's fine. I don't care. So, even at my GT, everybody else was drinking, and I was just sitting there with a Monster. I allowed myself a couple sodas. I don't really like drinking soda because soda makes me feel icky. But they didn't really have, like, much else to drink at that GT, Sorry, I'm trying to pick out the bullets on this bandolier. It's actually very hard to pick these out. Because they're, like, all hidden down in this fleshy bit thing. Oh. So angry they got shirtless. That's true. They're like, come at me, brah. Come at me. Blood for the blood guide. They're like angry Irishmen. We got angry Irish berserkers. I had a couple friends that were Irish, man, and every time they get angry, their shirts would come off. Well, they were Irish descent there. They weren't actually Irish. But it was always funny. It's like they'd start getting worked up, and you're like, their shirt's about to come off, and then next thing you know, they're shirtless. You're like, oh God, put back on your shirt, please. Like, what is it? Like, I'm gonna take my shirt off, and all of a sudden I get Super Saiyan powers or something? Like, do you get stronger the less clothes you have on? I'll never get that. Or maybe it's just a way to show off your rippling muscles. I don't know, man. It's just funny to me. Like, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. Do I think Chaos Lords are going to use horses again? No, like mounts? No, I really think that time is over. Honestly, they did need to start getting, like, cycling out some of these old models. Because I get it from a gaming standpoint, you're trying to balance all these different things. Now, the thing I don't agree with, now I can see mounts, I did not agree with bikes going away. And the fact that they took away bikes was kind of a weird choice. I figured that it would be a war gear option, you spend 20 points and can put your lord on a bike instead of a jump pack, which would have been really easy because the Space Marines got it. So I'm surprised that they took it away from Chaos when Space Marines got it. But, yeah, I really think that the days of mounted Chaos Lords on, like, Blood Crushers or Slanesh steeds or whatever are probably gone. Now I can, however, see, like, a Herald being mounted Which I think then you could use those older models as, you know? So I could see like a Bloodletter, which we do actually have those. But yeah, you could use like your corn dudes mounted on the Blood Crushers to be like a Bloodmaster on a Blood Crusher, you know? It's just, yes, I know. The rules for those are god awful. There's literally no reason to mount a Lord over walking it on foot. At all. Like, at all. The only one that you can maybe make a case for is the Heralds of Tzeentch. And that's because it greatly increases their mobility. And at the same point, they become a lot more survivable that route. But like a Bloodmaster on a Blood Crusher is awful. Herald of Nurgle doesn't have a mounting option, so I could see them bringing like a Palanquin back that route. But yeah, I think Chaos Lords being mounted on Demon Steeds is no longer going to be a thing. It's gonna definitely go to the Legacy or Legendary or whatever they're calling it now. Which is fine. I don't mind them cycling out some older stuff. Now, I will definitely, the day that they try to get rid of TAC Marines, period, I think is a cold day in hell, because a lot of people will be furious. A lot of people, because a lot of people have Marine armies, and a lot of people have lots of TAC Marines. So the specialist options that you might have onesies, twosies of, I can see those going away, but definitely not. Yeah, if Marines were lumped into that, I think that there might be a revolt somewhere. All right. Oh, I missed one more silver spot on this guy. What do you guys think of the camera down here? Do you guys prefer it to be over where you guys can see me painting? Please let me know, because I can adjust it and put it back on the little thing. I don't want you guys to be bored. I know most of these paint streams, y'all are just listening and interacting. You're not really watching me paint, so. But I want to know, so that way I can change it back. Exalted Deathbringer with the axe is an awesome model. Hell yeah, it is. That is actually a really cool model. I really like it. Which, I mean, you could use that guy as a Corn Lord. I mean, that's the thing. Counts as is just pretty much code for I've got models that I have no other use for, so. And honestly, I wouldn't, if you're just saying this is a dude with a power axe, like, I wouldn't, this is my lord with a power axe. Now, it'd be different if you're saying it's like a sergeant with a power axe, then I'd be like, well, the guy looks incredibly big and beefy and different. But a lord, yeah, whatever. He could be a lord. I'm fine with that. Alright. I think I got all the silver bits on this guy. Boom. Look at that. Well, thank you, Reishi. No, that's true. I think that they are slowly phasing out TAC Marines with the way that the rules are being written. So, yeah, that's true. Is he on that same size base as a Demon Prince, the Exalted Lord guy? I think he is, isn't he? Oh, man. Sickness is gonna kill me. Oh, drink some coffee real quick. Alright. keep on pressing. So this guy's actually got a lot of surface area that I want to make silver, so I'm going to actually use the use my flat brush for this guy. Because like his feet, I want them to be silver. So the other ones I didn't make their feet silver, I'm going to make their feet red. But this guy, because his feet are a lot different. I mean, it's a hell brute. So, or was a hell brute. So I think he'll have a lot more silver parts on him. Also, my silver parts, I never leave silver, ever. I don't care if it's a Nurgle model, I don't care, except for Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns, I will leave the metal parts metal. But any Chaos Space Marine thing, period. Yeah, all Chaos Space Marine things, period. Any metal that's on them, I try to rust it. And it's not because it's a Nurgle thing. In my opinion, you've got these dudes that have been stuck in the warp for 10,000 years. They are not going to have pristine metal equipment. Like, a lot of their stuff's going to be scavenged from a battlefield somewhere. Yes, they're going to clean their gear or whatever, but eventually it's going to have rust. 10,000 years is a long time. So, but that's just my opinion. So, I like to rust up everything. Thousand Suns, I don't, because I figure, they're magical. So, all their stuff's protected by magic. So, their gear and stuff's probably imbued with some sort of psychic, magical, fun stuff. I hate, and this is what's happening here. Like sometimes the spray of the model, and I don't know if it just like forms a gloss or something on it, but where it doesn't, the paint doesn't stick to the undercoat, it like starts pulling up. And the silver seems to be really, really bad with it. Because there's been a couple models that I've painted and I've had to go over an area like 4 or 5 times because it's just pulling up and not actually like covering the spot. Oh man. Don't die, James. Don't die. And I was supposed to spray paint all 3 or 2 of my Helldrakes this week and spray paint. I've got a Dark Apostle that I bought and some more Brimstone Horrors and a Changeling. I gotta prime those. I don't like having gray models on my shelf. Even if they're primed, it's still better for me. Looks like 40 millimeter. Yeah, he's probably on a 40 mil, I would imagine. Actually, the old world stuff I think is quite funny. Honestly, I don't know if it's just Age of Sigmar is not doing as well as they would have hoped, or if it is just. To me, it's just funny that they completely scrap the game. They bring this other game, and here what? We're like 4 years, 5 years after they've scrapped Fantasy, and now they're bringing it back like it's this new thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people are excited for it, which I'm excited for them. And Warhammer Fantasy, the traditional Warhammer Fantasy, definitely does not play anywhere close to what Age of Sigmar and 40k played. Not even close. So, to me, it'll be really interesting to see how they kind of work the new models into the rule set. And then at the same point, I'm wondering if they're going to start lumping in the square bases back into the boxes, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's a really interesting time. I'm excited because a lot of people have been wanting this, and a lot of people are really stoked that this is happening. A lot of guys do have Warhammer Fantasy armies that they didn't rebase or anything, that they're pretty much sitting in a closet somewhere. So, which is really good. The more people we have playing this hobby, the better. And I want GW to make their cut. I just wish GW wasn't... Some of the business decisions they make are just questionable. And I get it. At the end of the day, the bottom line is how much money they can make off of whatever it is that they're selling. So, obviously, they're not doing it from the bottom of their heart that, oh man, fans, you guys wanted this for so long. Here you go. No, they're doing it because there's some sort of monetary incentive in there. How are they going to monetize it? I don't know. And it'll be really interesting to see. The other interesting part to me is to see what happens to Age of Sigmar after this. Whether or not we start seeing the rules for AOS spill over to 40k more, and then slowly Fantasy integrates all the AOS models. I don't know. It's a really interesting time. There's a lot of questions. Not very many answers, but a lot of questions. And like I said, obviously GW's got a monetary incentive somewhere in this. Because aren't they giving out the rulebook for free, I want to say? Like, I think that they were releasing the rules for free for Old World. Which is really cool. It's going to get people playing it, definitely. Especially all those guys out there with the old armies, you know. I guarantee you there's some dudes that will be first weekend throwing down some Old World Fantasy. Hell, there's YouTube channels that they haven't stopped playing Fantasy. That they still do battle reports to this day of old school Fantasy, which is hilarious. Which, hey man, if you love the game that much, that's awesome. That is super awesome. Hell, there's still guys that play like 3rd edition 40k. Some play 5th edition. Nobody's really playing 4th. 4th, I haven't heard of any groups still playing 4th. Obviously, nobody's playing 6th or 7th, because I think everybody hated both of those editions. 6th was the reason I quit 40k there for a while and went down a dark hole of War Machine. So War Machine, here I'm going to go on a tangent about War Machine. War Machine, the lore and everything is pretty cool, and the way the game functions is really, really cool. However, the community was so toxic, so toxic, and like, you think that 40k has tryhards win at all costs people. You've never been to a War Machine event. Because those guys, man. So, a couple issues I had with War Machine. One, which I'm not opposed to this. So when I started playing, there was a rule in MK2 for War Machine. It was on like page 5 or 9 or something like that. And more or less in a in a nutshell, it said get good. So basically the whole game revolved around don't whine and cry that you're losing the game, just get better at the game. Okay, cool. I could do that. However, in War Machine, the game could more or less be decided by a quarter of an inch. So unlike 40k where you're using like big, broad, like, okay, 72 inches, cool, you know, I'm gonna give it to you because it looks really close. War Machine was legit like, hey, I am a quarter of an inch within this range to do this thing that is going to win me the game. And that's what the game played around all the time. It was super hyper precise. So you get a bunch of gamers that are playing really, really quick games. They start getting loosey-goosey with the rules. And there was a lot of arguments. Like, you think 40k has a lot of arguments of whether or not something's in range. Like, War Machine was legit like, no, you are not in range. I'm not going to let you do that. Because pretty much at any point you could lose the game because of whatever the measurement was. And so I went to a tournament and was playing this guy, and he made this like way crazy wonky combo where he's like throwing, like you can throw your own models and then move them and stuff like that. So he was doing this crazy wonky combo, and I was like, okay, cool. And he killed my, basically my warlord on turn 2 or something like that. And, however, as he was resolving this, I realized that there was something he couldn't do. So, like, he had already killed me. He had rolled the dice, and I was like, all right, I died. But I was like, wait a minute. Were you able to do this? He's like, oh, crap, no, I wasn't able to do that. So I call over the TO. I'm like, hey, this is the situation. Can we walk it back from this point? Or, like, I don't mind if he just walks these models back, but, you know, he can't do that, and it cost me the game. And the TO looked me dead in the face, and he said, well, y'all have already rolled dice, so he won the game. And I was like, but he technically cheated. Like, he even admitted that he couldn't do this, and we were trying to find a resolution. He's like, well, you should have called me over in the process of you guys rolling the dice. And I packed up my models. I was like, all right, well, if this is the way this game's going to be. I went home, and I threw my armies up on eBay. Because that was not fun at all. Now, my opponent could have been a nice guy and you know, been agreeable, but what he was doing was he was fishing for the tournament organizer to basically let it ride and let him win, because it was the difference between him placing in the top 3 or not. And so because of that game, he got 3rd place, and you know, I dropped all the way down towards the bottom. But just the War Machine community in general, that like every game or every tournament I ever went to, that's kind of how they always boiled down to, was it seemed like somebody would try to take advantage of someone else. Unless you were like playing the really good players, that would be pretty legit. And so yeah, that's why I quit War Machine. And then yeah, I came back to 40K in 8th edition. No, I mean, there was a few year gap. I stopped playing war games altogether there for, I don't know, I'd say for 4 years. Yeah, it was like 4 years I stopped playing war games. I did look at getting back into 40K in 7th edition. Stopped by the GW store in Omaha, because that's where I was stationed at the time. And we had just gotten orders to come out here. And I talked to my wife, and she's like, well, I mean, you can buy the models now, or we could just wait. And so I waited until I got out here. And then we had went to dinner one night, and then we were walking by the game store, and she's like, oh, let's go in and look at the models that you wanted to buy. And now I will tell you, it took many years for our relationship to get to that level. My wife is stuck in it with me for a while. We've been married for almost 10 years now. But, yeah, when we got married, man, I had no limits. So, basically, if I wanted to go play a game of Warhammer, I would go play a game of Warhammer. Like, rest of life be damned, I was going to the game store, and I was going to go roll some dice. And so, I mean, she put up with it for a little while, but eventually she had to put her foot down and be like, look, we're married. You can't just spend all your time gaming. And, you know, me being a guy, I was like, oh, yeah, I can game and still be a husband. And, no, she was right. She was right. So, I love my wife. She's awesome. But anyway, that was a tangent. I just kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry. Thank you for taking that journey with me, everybody. Alright. Looks like I got silver on this arm right here. This pipe. And so yeah, when I came back to 7th edition or 8th edition, I really like this edition though. It's really good. I do think that we need to get a 9th edition now. Now I'm not saying like rewrite the whole crux of the rules like they did for every other edition, but what I am saying is that we need to have all the facts, all the erratas, everything lumped into the main rule book, and new terrain rules need to be in there, and then like any tweaks to the actual game system. Like I'm not saying a full rewrite. I am saying literally, let's get all these facts into a book. That way I don't have to know, because most of the time when I'm playing somebody and I tell them they can't do something and that it's in a fact somewhere, then I have to sit there and spend 10 minutes bringing up my phone, bringing up a fact to show them that they can't do whatever thing that they're trying to do. So as an example, my opponent the other day was trying to deep strike stuff on turn 1 in his deployment zone because he thought that's how it still worked. Now, because that was his whole game plan, I went ahead and let him do it. And I even told him that. I was like, hey, man, that's not how it works. I will go ahead and let you do it. He was like, oh, no. Like, I'll look it up after. I was like, no, just go ahead and do it. Because obviously you had planned on this the whole time. And so if that's what you were planning on doing, we'll go ahead and ride with it. But then I recommended to him, hey, definitely take a look at the facts and erratas. So I can be a cool opponent too. Now, I mean, middle of a GT or whatever, if you make a mistake, there's one thing walking back stuff if it's an honest mistake or whatever. Like during my GT when I was playing Jonathan, his Tau, he had left my Plague Burst Crawler in combat and my Demon Prince, I think it was, in combat with some Fire Warriors or whatever. He got to where he started nominating shooting and everything, and then he was just about to roll the dice, and then he's like, wait a minute, I forgot to fall this guy back. And I was like, I'm sorry, man, like, you've already started nominating your shooting. How'd you notice, like, a bit ago? Because, like, this was, like, 10 minutes later. So I didn't let him take that back, but it actually ended up in his favor anyway, because it allowed him easier target priority for his Taunar. And his Taunar actually wiped out, like, 3 things that turn. And he's like, oh, that actually worked out. I was like, well, there you go, see? It was a happy little mistake. Had I let him walk it back, there was actually a very good chance that it wouldn't have ended up nearly as well, because he would have wasted a lot of shots on that Demon Prince instead. Alright, so it looks like I got all the silver done. Yay! Oh, what time is it? 10:10. Oh, no. Oh, crap. Oh, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a stream. There's no sense in trying to get any further on any of these guys. Oh, let's see what's going on. Old World. Imagine you can get a job and it's in the warp planet of Siege. Your job is to clean all the dust. That's funny. GW did this with Aeronautica. Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Third Total Warhammer game will be Chaos focused. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they were making a third Total Warhammer. I love the Total Warhammer series. A lot of fun. I only have the first one, though. I haven't bought the second one yet. I should probably buy the second one at some point. Yeah. Yep. Nope. I agree with the one chain cannon. That's true. It's through Forge World only. Yep. That's true. Oh, excuse me. New terrain rules. Line of sight removed. You don't need any more physical objects on the table like houses, forest bushes, craters. You can just draw them on a map. I mean, we could do it that way. That's actually how a lot of 5th edition was played. a lot of suspended belief, like saying, oh, well, this forest right here blocks line of sight behind it, but it was just a blob of green felt on the table, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with stuff like that. I don't agree. We do need line of sight rules. Line of sight is actually a huge thing in the game. I do think that the line of sight rules need to be reworked. So, as an example, I don't believe that you should be able to shoot at a model just because you see a spike on it. Like, that to me is ridiculous, because I actually ran into this where, because my Lord Discordance, the way that I modeled them on some rocks, so their little staff sticks up a little higher. My opponent argued that the tip of his repulsor's gun could see just the tip of that spear, so he could go ahead and shoot me. That to me is absolutely ridiculous. I think line of sight should be true line of sight, and you need to see the body of the model. So it could be any, like, as an example, on this Obliterator, right? Any part of the body, like legs up, you can shoot at it. And I mean, it has to clearly define, like, what the main part of the body. Like, if you're shooting at my Lord of Change, if you see him, okay, cool. Any part of him, that is fine. Any part that's hanging over the base. But, like, the fact that Mortarion, you could just see the tip of his wing, and his wings are huge, and you could shoot at him, that I don't agree with. Because that, to me, is a little ridiculous that, oh, I can see the tip of Mortarion's wing. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and unload all these shots at him, and it's going to kill him. Like, okay, cool, you would tear his wing off, but would you actually kill Mortarion? No. And yeah, so that's my own personal thoughts on that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this paint stream. I'll be back here in 45 minutes for the actual live stream, where I'm going to cover a bunch of tournament lists. We'll talk about some stuff, channel updates, and more. So hope to see you guys back here in 45.